Have you ever been walking down the street and come across a person with a tattoo on their face and wanted to ask, why? Have you ever thought about what it's like to be a skydiver? Do you ever think about things that may or may not touch your life personally, such as human trafficking or sex slavery? JoleneMaria.TV has, and she wants to share it with you. This is the lifestyles of the interesting and infamous.
Welcome to my island. Welcome to my East Coast island. Where the sun don't always shine inside our minds. It's always a good vibe when we're on the island time. The island time. It's so cold outside.
Thanks for tuning in to Lifestyles of the Interesting and Infamous. I'm Jolene Maria, and today we have the pleasure of Rick Defedele. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Rick owns a tattoo studio in Rhode Island. Where exactly is it?
It's in North Kingstown.
Cool. And what's it called?
Inkognito Tattoo.
So where can they find you if they're trying to look this up?
Inkognitotattoo.com.
Also, everybody stay tuned because after this interview, I'm actually going to be making some squid ink pasta with calamari. It's going to be delicious.
Sounds
That's a
delicious.
dedication of you.
Excellent.
Your inspiration. So when did you get into tattooing and how?
I first started tattooing around 2001, and I was in music school at the time, and I was just getting a lot of tattoos. And I became friends with all the guys in the studio and just kind of fell into it a little bit.
They sucked you in, they always do.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So who did you study underneath then?
A couple people. I started under with Smiling Rick Chisholm, and then my buddy Clay, and it was just kind of a group effort for a while, about 2-year apprenticeship.
Cool. So did you have a reason for actually getting the tattoo that you got on your face?
Nothing really concrete, but it kind of felt like it needed to happen at the time. And I was very young. I was 18 when I got this, but I can't imagine myself without it.
Really? Is that the Om symbol on your face too?
It's similar. It's ancient Sanskrit, and the whole thing means ever happy.
Yeah, awesome. Are you ever happy?
I try to be.
How do children react to it?
Children are the best.
Yeah?
Always. They're always very interested, you know, want to talk to me. It's the parents that are always kind of crazy about it. Oh, you got to take it easy. Don't be talk. Don't look. Don't stare.
Well, what do they ask about?
It's not really, it's more like, wow. I mean, first time you ever see something like that, especially as a kid, you're just taken aback.
Yeah.
So everyone's just really excited usually.
Do you like that reaction from people?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you like feed off it? Because I kind of like it.
It should always be positive.
Yeah. Was your mom upset when you came home with your tattoo? She said no?
You know, she wasn't really upset. She was like, oh, you know, what did you do? And go through that spiel, and then it was done, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it.
So you were already on the brink of doing those things? She wasn't shocked anymore?
No, she wasn't shocked anymore.
What did you do the first time to make her so okay with doing that?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll have to do it to my mom so she just leaves me alone.
I know. I think she was more shocked when I split my tongue. That was
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Do you still have it? Well, obviously you still have it, right?
I do still have it.
Do it! That's crazy!
Yeah.
When was that?
Shortly after I tattooed my face. I think I was 19. Oh yeah, that was it.
I heard that people can't even do that because I know somebody asked me to ask somebody and they were like, no, we're not doing that.
A lot of places you're not supposed to do it anymore, but when I was doing it, it was not really heard of in this country yet. So.
Isn't it like a really long process?
It took me about 10 days to do, yeah.
So is it like they burn it, right?
No, when I did it, you pierce your tongue really far back with the large gauge piercing. I think I did 10 gauge in the back of my tongue.
How big is that? It's like.
I mean, it's not super huge.
It's not inches, right?
No, but it's fairly big enough. And up, that heals up, you take a piece of suture wire and go through that whole line up the front.
No!
And you tie it as tight as you can. No. And every 2 days you put a new one in and tie it tighter.
Oh no!
The worst part is sneezing. Sneezing is the worst part of the whole situation.
God, how do you eat?
You don't. I had Jello and pudding. It was absolutely horrendous.
Did you ever like say no, you can't get that tattoo, and refuse to tattoo somebody?
Not based generally just on the tattoo. I'll have to sometimes explain to people like what can and cannot work as a tattoo, but you know, nothing. I've never really encountered a situation where someone's been like, I want this big swastika on my forehead or something like that, which I would probably say no to, but no.
Cool. Well, has anybody come in drunk and you had to refuse them?
Yeah, that definitely happens.
Yeah. What do they usually ask for?
Oh, all over the place. Usually a woman's name, generally.
Really? Yeah, that's a pretty bad idea. I actually had an ex-boyfriend of mine buy me a tattoo gun when I was 16, and he gave me this ultimatum. He was like, I can tattoo you, you can tattoo me. And I was like, that's a great deal. So I was like, don't write your name on me. So he put his letter initial with a heart around it, and I was like, you did exactly what I told you not to do. So I tattooed my name across his butt.
All right.
Yes, I did. That's a true story. Do you think that 18-year-old is too young for people to get tattoos?
No, I mean, it's definitely around the edge there, but physically I think it's okay. I mean, your body's pretty much at its peak of growing, you know, which is mainly why I think anything younger than that is really a bad idea. You know, someone 16 years old, you still got a lot left to grow. Your body's going to change, your skin's going to change.
I didn't. I just aged more.
And you're an idiot. You're an idiot when you're 16.
Yeah, it's
true. You don't know what you want.
That's so
you
true.
Tattoo someone's name on your butt. Don't do that.
I did it. I just forced someone to do that. Ah, silly. Do you have like an idol of yours that's tattoo related?
I would say maybe Guy Atchison right now, just because he's so. He really does his own thing, and it's very obscure kind of. I don't know, abstract art. Like,
how would you like describe it, like an art that people might have seen?
It's very biological looking, but kind of alien looking. I know it's hard to describe, but very colorful, bold.
What's your style like?
I do big, bold, tattoo-y looking stuff, you know, thick lines, bright colors.
Is that your favorite kind of stuff to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite tattoo that you've done recently on somebody?
That I've done recently? I'm working on this cool mermaid piece that's kind of Alphonse Mucha, like based off of. Big, bold lines, kind of crazy hair. Just.
So have you always been artistic in a way? If you went to school for music, then you kind of relate the same thing to art in tattooing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been drawing or doing something ever since I was a little kid.
So it's not like you ever work a day in your life, right?
That's it.
Well, where did you learn?
I was down in Texas. It's called Denton, Texas. It's about an hour north of Dallas.
What were you doing in Texas?
I was going to music school.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So do you still do music, too?
I do, occasionally. I play jazz trumpet.
Cool. I don't think that I would strike me as a jazz type.
I'm a big jazz head.
That's fun. Do you have any advice for younger children, whether it be about tattoos or anything else?
Advice to younger children about anything in general?
About anything.
Wow, that's a tough question.
I like to ask tough questions.
Yeah?
I like to make people think.
Eat spicy food as often as possible. It's a good way to be.
It's really healthy for you, actually.
It is. It's very healthy.
There's a ton of health benefits. Maybe I'll throw some red pepper flakes into your recipe.
I eat hot food all the time.
Do you have any other passions in life besides those two that we've gone over so far?
Music and art. Amateur gardening, a little bit. Motorcycle riding.
Cool.
My dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's an American dingo.
Ah, cool. He doesn't eat babies, does he?
He does not eat babies. Not yet, anyway, as far as I know.
Well, with this job and the lifestyle that you chose, what's the hardest part about it?
Sometimes dealing with people in general, just to kind of explain to people what can and can't work. And
well, what's an example of what does and doesn't work?
A lot of people want really small stuff that, you know, over time, smaller tattoos just do not hold up well.
Like a blob?
Right, your skin stretches and relaxes, and through the growth of just life in general, you need something kind of open to make it hold up.
So would you not suggest that women get like tattoos if they're planning on having babies, like if they're going to stretch out?
I mean, it's all on planning out the tattoo beforehand. You know, when you know you're going to be pregnant, you want to make sure you know that the tattoo you're getting is something that's going to hold up to that kind of stretching of your body.
So the most frustrating part, obviously, is dealing with people. Is like kind of telling them that what they want isn't really realistic.
Yeah, not feasible to do in the tattoo style.
Have you ever gone to any other countries and seen the way that they tattoo?
Not specifically for a tattoo-related thing. I've been to Ireland and Barbados. Definitely interesting tattoo work in both places, but...
Did you see it while you were there?
Not in the first hand, but I've seen people's tattoos in those places.
What's the difference?
Barbados is very primitive kind of tattoos and not prevalent at all. And Ireland is very, it's, you know, it has that European aspect, but still that American influence over there.
What I think is really interesting about tattoos is that they are from ancient times and they were really, really highly acceptable and normal, and then they kind of weren't, and now they are again. It's kind of go through a cycle.
It always goes through a cycle.
It's pretty
But
crazy.
it'll always be there.
Well, I also read somewhere that back in the day, women would have like their attributes or what they were good at listed on their arms so that like suitors would know firsthand like what they were getting
I
themselves
think it's
into.
a great idea.
I know, I was
Should bring that
thinking, I was
right
like,
back.
I'm a good cook. I have a TV show. My name's Jolene.
It's great.
Just all great things. But I mean, that's kind of obvious, right?
It's perfect. A little cliff notes for everyone to see. I like
Exactly.
that. That's wonderful.
Exactly. So what's a point in life that you knew that this was the lifestyle that you wanted to take on? Because this is a lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I first started getting tattoos, I would say probably 18. Once I first got my first one, I knew that was it. I mean, I was in it.
And
For
to win it?
Yeah, definitely.
What was the experience like for you?
The first time? You know, very nervous in the beginning. Had no idea what to expect.
It's kind of like you were losing your virginity.
It is kind of like that.
I
It
always
is.
say that when people don't have any tattoos, they're virgins.
It is. I mean, you really, the anticipation of what you're about to have done to you is the worst part of the entire situation.
What was your first tattoo?
It's a genie head up on my shoulder here.
Well, how many tattoos do you have now?
Oh,
If you could count.
I don't think I can count. They all kind of run together at a certain point.
So how much percentage of your body then?
50, 60%.
Pretty crazy. So are you attracted to girls that have tattoos? Or
Absolutely.
what if they don't have tattoos?
I like women in general.
Because women are just so cute.
That's very true.
So what are your thoughts on like scarification?
If done well, it's cool. It's not something I've ever done at all, but I mean, sure. It's just a different kind of form of tattooing.
Well, when you do tattoos, and how long have you been doing it now?
I'm coming up on 12 years.
Cool. Have you seen any changes in like the technology and the safety precautions?
Safety, definitely. I mean, technology, not too much. There are people that try to come out with new designs for the machines and stuff like that, but you know, it's not broke. You know, there's no need to fix it at this point. I mean, it works very well for what you need to do.
It's not like we're using bones and rocks right now. So
Right, but even so, even that worked very well.
I know, it still
People
does,
still do
actually.
that.
So what about the regulations? What kind of regulations do they have?
I mean, as of now, it's definitely getting much better. Far more, I guess, governmental influence just over making sure that people in the shop are licensed and everyone is up to code and checking things out. Whereas, you know, even as far back as the 1980s, it was terrible. You know, there was,
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I remember my dad likes tattoos, and I remember him getting tattooed in our kitchen when I
Sure.
was probably like 4. And I remember sitting there and being confused at what they were doing. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, that does still happen, and I do.
Oh, yeah, I got my
fix
first
a lot of those
tattoo.
tattoos.
In a basement, but still.
Especially with access, I mean, you can go online now and buy any of this stuff, and with all the stuff on television, everyone thinks that they're a tattoo artist now.
I know. Well, you know.
It's one of those things.
Well, what do you think kind of when did you feel comfortable being a tattoo artist?
I mean, at the end of my apprenticeship, I was pretty comfortable. You know, I'd tattooed myself multiple times, and I started tattooing my friends. And, you know, once you get over that kind of initial fear of putting something permanent on somebody, it's a cakewalk.
Do you ever think about how those people are walking around with your art on them all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great.
It is
It's a
great.
wonderful thing.
You've left your mark on society in legitimate terms.
Hmm.
Well, what do you think about piercings? I know you're okay with tattoos.
Yeah, I mean, I was into it for a while. I've taken out pretty much all of my piercings at this point.
I feel like that happens. You get them, then you're like,
They just get so annoying after a certain amount of time.
yeah, but what about your tongue splitting? Are you okay with it? You did that for the rest of your life?
Absolutely. I just don't like having things in You know, they always get in the way, I feel like. Especially, I'm sure when you're washing your face, you get caught up on your
This isn't so bad.
towels or stuff.
Just when it comes out, it really is irritating because then I can't find it because it's like the teeniest little thing in the whole world.
It's just like a headache for me. I had some. I mean, I had them all up in here, everywhere. I had a huge gauge nose piercing. Just
wasn't your thing?
I mean, it was at the time.
Not anymore?
Not anymore.
But what about tattoos? Like the fact that you can't take them off, does that like kind of bother you, or ever like, damn, I kind of wish I didn't get that and I wish I had an eraser?
Nope, I was in for every tattoo that I was getting, you know.
Well, do you have any stories behind any of your tattoos?
I have stories about every one of my tattoos.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Tell me some.
I'll tell you some. I have a mouse holding a daisy on the back of my head, which was a day of boredom at the tattoo shop, and basically a bet from my buddy. So I now have a mouse with a daisy on my head, and that's a good thing.
Well, what about like more like spiritual things that are tied to you for the rest of your life? Because most of my tattoos are very tied to me for the rest of my life for a reason.
Spiritually, I mean, I have a large Ganesh on my shin here that I did.
What's a Ganesh?
Can I show you, maybe?
Oh, okay, now I totally understand.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of Buddhist and Hindu tattoos?
Yeah. Not specifically for that reason, but I kind of like what they symbolize in a lot of ways. This one in particular, Ganesh is holding a paintbrush and art supplies, as opposed to the traditional, like the broken horn and such.
So do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me or anything that I forgot to ask you?
Cooking aspect of this. What's that about?
Well, I like to tie in the people that I interview into food because I love food and I love people.
I also love food.
So I know you do. So you probably have to come back and cook in the studio with me
Yeah,
when I go and cook. You know, because I don't have unlimited funds yet. I can't build myself a studio. But when I can, it's going to be great because everybody asks that. It's such a bummer that I can't bring them on and have them cook with me every time. But one day, when the world is perfect, it will happen. But yeah, so we're going to make squid ink pasta with calamari, just because I feel like that goes well.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I want to thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And stay tuned to watch that recipe get cooked. And thanks again for coming on Lifestyles of the Interesting and Infamous.
I appreciate it.
Guess what? You're interesting and infamous.
Thank you.
Look at that. Did you know that?
Now I do.
Okay, that's all I had to do in life. Just
Perfect.
tell you were interesting and infamous.
It's fire, fire. You know that girl is on fire. It's fire, she's gonna fulfill my desire. Straight up, I can't even lie. She's got me so hypnotized. Those lips, those eyes, it's no surprise. These feelings are on the rise. She's got me thinking dirty thoughts, and I wanna get her up to that spot. I'm telling you, this girl is so hot. Player, I'm coming over like it or not, yeah. 'Cause you couldn't sail the deal. Now she's got